What's up, guys? So with this video, I'm going to try to teach you how to trade and exploit algorithmic trading on trend days. In my opinion, this is the way algos run. If you were reading the price ladder with level 2 data, you would be able to see this constant game that they play. And I'm just using the footprint, which is basically another version of the price ladder. Um, but yeah, it's a constant game, and I like it best on trend days, and that's where my edge is at. But it's not like an entire day of trend. It's more like a trend leg. Like if you see a leg of trend, and I may actually throw in a recording of the DOM, the price ladder, whatever you guys call it, so that you can understand kind of what I mean by this little game, because it's crazy. Alright, so this is actually from my first video that I tried putting up. But basically, right now, if you look at the screen, you're gonna see that at 55, 65, you're gonna have high volume sitting here. And as of right now, it's supported for about 3 bars. So it's creating a floor per se. Support, aka buyer supporting. So right there, you're gonna see these limit orders. That is, it's a mix of buying and selling, but ultimately you got a buyer trying to support this. So then very fast, they gap through him, leaving low volume. Okay. So now we're gonna wait for the next volume to pop up to explain this. Okay, so we were starting to see a little bit of a high volume node form, but not yet. So now we can argue that there's one that's formed. But basically I'm gonna skip so this can fill out a little bit, and now you're gonna understand, okay, so there's volume filling in, and when there's high volume, the market stays relatively stuck on that area because there's a lot of trade going on. It's not moving. If there's no trade going on, the market will move in a low volume manner. But okay, so now I want you to remember this old 55, 65 level that we talked about when the video started. And you're gonna see we come up to it, and right there where my mouse is shaking, you're gonna see a lot of contracts filling. Why? Because you have a seller who is trying to defend his new ground, which was, old buyer was there. The seller sunk below it. So when they come back to it, they want to keep him underwater. So they don't want to let it above that. So now you're gonna see all these contracts come in. And on the right side, that's gonna be your limit selling. The left side is gonna be your limit or your market selling. Now there's also some buying in the mix, no doubt, but obviously we can take the clue that the market didn't keep moving up, so it's majority selling. And so that's a quick understanding, hopefully, of the high volume. But watch what happens next, okay? I don't know when I get to it. I think it dips down another time. Yeah, so supported. And then we're gonna go. Yeah, okay. And here's where the magic happens. Okay. So we're back at 65. We have a seller attempting to hold it down. But what do we get? We get aggressive buying, okay? And obviously with this aggressive buying, it's left a streak of low volume. Wow. Okay. So it's left a streak of low volume. Now you got a seller stepping in. he's wanting to try and keep this down somewhere in this general area. He's going to want to try and short it again. Whatever, that's fine. But in itself, we're watching kind of like a reversal signal right now. So let's see. I'm pretty positive I show this here. Yeah, so okay. So now we're back into 67. The seller's trying to get it back down. What we want to know is what will happen when we revisit 65s, that area. That's the old, it was the old resistance. Now we're thinking maybe it's going to be flipped to support. Okay? Ignore that because it's backwards, but it made sense when I wrote it. So now watch what happens when we dip in there. So basically, we only make it to the literal top of the old high volume node, and we start going straight up, and then just watch. I might just skip 5 seconds so we don't have to watch this. Okay, yeah, you see. It's literally taking off. Look at it go. And it was all about 65s because it was support, flipped to resistance, flipped back to support. It was all, that whole trade was about 65s, man. And it's being ran by algos 100%, because I don't know how humans could get in the orders that perfectly that fast. I don't think they could. Like, I'm out here putting on, like one contract, and they're putting on hundreds. All right, so what was that trade? That was what we just went over, pretty much. High volume node, break above, leave low volume. We saw one retest here, where my mouse is at, and boom, instant rejection. We go higher, about 60 points higher. So anyway, we come back here, it's 934 into the market open. I'm not ready to put my money on the line in this spot right here. So I strategically waited, as you saw. Well, actually, you didn't see that part in the video, but I didn't trade at all. And this just happened to take us further down. I mean, it's just kind of something I was expecting. Maybe that comes with screen time. But we come back down into this relative area, and we fill even more volume where we did the first time. Now understand, yes, this time didn't exactly touch the top of the high volume node, but you need to know, like, this isn't an exact science, but it's a framework to operate around. So clearly right here, this is where my trade was at. I don't know if I can, yeah, I don't know. Boom. This is what I went long off of. Believe it. If I had to give you an actual reason to help support the idea, I would say, like, all of these negative contracts at the very bottom paired with the high volume, that would give a good reason. If you understand delta and positive negative contracts at the low means a buyer is accumulating. At market, he's passively buying. All right, so I'm gonna do a I'm gonna do a live replay of this trade, just so it's obvious what I was doing. So this is the news candle coming in, and here's your sellers stepping in. There's a lot of news traders. I'm learning in like the prop world. There's a lot of news traders, and that's like institutional, not like prop firm world. Like I'm talking the pro prop firms. Anyway, in the news, this when the news happens, this volume comes in very fast, and it's very good traders that are doing this. So I'm kind of learning along with it to like play along with them. And news isn't as bad as you think, although I don't think I could do one of the main news events like CPI. I mean, you can debatably do FOMC, but some of these that are like 1 second, like I'm never gonna be in on the first second. But as far as what happens when they pull back, what happens if they reverse, you can actually trade along with them decent. But all right, enough yapping. So high volume node develops very fast, and now I wanted to. If I was betting, I would bet on the long side. So I end up getting long in here, I think a little bit prematurely, but even if the trade lost, my risk is to find under the high volume node. So worst case scenario, I take like a manageable loss. But I'm wanting to bank on us making new highs again because I think we just got all the momentum. We just sprung to a new high. And I think the easiest trade on paper at this current moment is, hey, let's go make another new high. So I would be willing to argue that there were a lot more buyers at this current moment. So I wanted to be long. And this is kind of what's playing out. But this node's holding well. We don't want to see it lose the bottom of it. That's the key. If we're long, we don't want to see it lose the bottom. And it looks like we're about to start getting this release to the upside. And as you notice, the market goes from high to barely any. Like it's just like clockwork, dude. It goes from high volume to barely any volume, and it just drifts upward until it meets its next area where it wants to transact like a lot, and then it'll become high volume. So but yeah, these little white numbers on the side, that's my volume number. The delta is the one inside the candle. So yeah, I mean, you don't really start getting new high volume until like 300, and the scalp started at 76 to 80 area. So I mean, you've got 20 free points, dude, where it just drifts straight upward. And I see this play out all day every day. But I like to keep myself stuck with a trend. I don't like to do it without a trend.